So after
Once again, anyone who plans on voting, make sure you have checked in with the registrar out in the hallway. You need a yellow ticket to be able to vote. Today is Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. It's 7 p.m. I'd like to call the town meeting to order.
Linda Grappo.
Troy Lemire.
Paul Marino.
Paul Harrington.
Todd Archulashie.
Lauren Dombrowski.
William Hester.
Andy Perez.
William Pozo.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lauren, if you could read the warning for the meeting.
Warning to all persons entitled to vote in town meetings of the Town of Winchester, County of Litchfield, and State of Connecticut. You are hereby notified and warned of a special meeting of said town will be held on April 3rd, 2025 at the following address and time: 338 Main Street, Winsted, Connecticut. Town of Winchester Town Hall, P. Francis Hicks Room, 7 p.m. For the following purpose: A, consider and possibly act on the proposed sale of 109 Marshall Street. B, consider and possibly act on the proposed sale of 104 Norfolk Road. C, consider and possibly act on the proposed sale of 50-52 Cottage Street.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to turn the poll. Moderator. At this point, we need to set a moderator. Can we have a motion?
I move that Todd is our moderator for this meeting.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. At this point, I would like to turn the town meeting over to Town Manager Paul Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm probably going to stand for this. It'll be easier to see the screens and for me to talk to all of you. I think it's important we take a few steps backwards to just let you all know the procedures that we've gone through and the remaining procedures to complete this town meeting tonight. The first and foremost is the property has been reviewed by the staff, the Board of Selectmen, and the P&Z. Several months ago, this board talked about a few town-owned properties that it ultimately was looking to possibly sell. They came up with a list of properties. They then forwarded those properties to the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission met at a regular meeting, and they came back and said that all of those properties that the board was looking to sell, I believe there was 11 of them, they have no conflict, they have no issue with the town selling any of those properties. They did note a few things to make sure that we keep the integrity of the town, to make sure that we don't take a property that's a blighted property and ends up back into a blighted property. all things that the Board of Selectmen ultimately can view when they're deciding to ultimately push these out to the town meeting. And what you'll find is that 3 of the properties tonight that are before us do have actually contracts on them, and it's up to, obviously, our legislative body, all of you, to decide if the town should sell them or not. The Board of Selectmen moved the properties forwards to consideration tonight at the special town meeting. And again, the voters must have signed in with the registers to receive the voting card, which is that yellow piece of paper that ultimately gives you the ballot. Moving on, we'll have a presentation followed by a discussion. We will have as many rounds as necessary to have all of your questions answered. We're going to take each one separately. So if you're here for one particular property and it's the last one, unfortunately, you're going to have to bear with us as we go through the first 2 properties. The moderator will recognize the speakers. Everything needs to go through the moderator. When a question is asked, it's through the moderator. You can ask a question. You can ask a question of me. We do have the town's realtor that was brought in for these transactions. You can pose a question that way as well, but it needs to be through the moderator. There's no dialogue back and forth between the resident and any potential person. It has to go through the moderator. Motions must be worded correctly and clearly and must be seconded, and voting will be done by paper ballot at the conclusion of the speakers of each property. Moving on, each person in round 1 of comments will be given the opportunity to speak for 5 minutes. Once everyone has had the chance to speak, people that would like to speak a second time will be given an additional 5 minutes. If there are those that wish to make a third comment, you will be given an additional 5 minutes, but that's after everyone in the room has, spoken during the first however many rounds we may have to go through. And this will continue until every spoken has spoken or the question has been moved. Moving on, each person in round 1 of comments will be given the opportunity. There we go. Consideration to award the bid. And this is per an ordinance, part of the town of Winchester, that in awarding the bid, the town may consider, in addition to the price, the following: whether bidder abuts the proposed parcel, whether the bidder will merge the proposed parcel to making it more conforming to the planning and zoning regulations, and whether the bidder is current with all taxes and user fees due to the town of Winchester. More things to consider of consideration to award bid: whether the proposed bidder is a tenant or an occupant of the property, the proposed and likely use of the proposed property, and any other reason the board feels best promote the well-being of the town, including long-term use, potential for the town, the economic benefit or the loss for the town, the environmental value, and the aesthetic value for the subject premises. I will say that these 3 properties that are being discussed tonight did receive several offers that were presented to the board in executive session. All of those items were considered before it came to all of you on what you'll see tonight as a contract that is offered to the town of Winchester to buy it. So each one of those considerations were thought about, talked about at length before the Board of Selectmen made a decision to move forward tonight with the special meeting. Formal offers have been received on 3 of the properties: 5052 Cottage Street, 104 Norfolk Road, and 109 Marshall Street. First one up is 5052 Cottage Street. It is one structure. It was built in the 1800s. Lot size is 0.2 acres. The 2023 appraisal came in at $127,800. The total proposed sale is for $70,000. Let's repeat it. Oh, whoops. Get back up here. 2023 appraisal again is $127,800. Assessed value 70% is $89,460. Estimate annual tax revenue for fiscal year 25 will be roughly $2,437. That's based off of the current mill rate that we know of right now. If you happen to have a chance, this is what the property appears on the GIS system. With that, we'll open it up to discussions and questions on just 50 and 52 Cottage Street. I guess if the board maybe want to say something first, and then we can open it up to the general public.
Anyone on the board wish with any questions? Anyone in the public wish to speak on 5052 Cottage Street? Can we have a motion?
Can I have a motion to move the question, Mr. Moderator?
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Now, this is for everybody has to vote,
Yep.
because it's a town meeting.
Yeah.
So everybody votes. So we're voting to move the question, which means it'll go to the, next thing will be to make a motion to buy the property or sell it.
Can you say that again? The motion is to,
Huh?
can you say the motion again?
Move the question.
Move the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
I'll make a motion that we sell 5052 Cottage Street for a value of $70,000 to the person under contract.
Person under contract, yes.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Paul. Any further discussion from the board?
That's out here too.
Any questions or discussion from the audience? Seeing none, all in favor?
Oh, we have, no, we have to go to paper
paper
Now
ballot.
we go to paper ballot.
Your ballots are on the hallway or in here?
Mr. Moderator, if I may, step in. At this time, you're gonna take that yellow piece of paper that you were given when you registered in. You're gonna go right over to the first table. They are gonna give you a ballot for just 5052 Cottage Street. It's very simple. It's a yes, no. Check the box you wish and then deposit it in the box. Please, again, don't lose that yellow piece of paper.
So little people, we should just do it by hand.
No.
I believe there's a reason that we have to do it this way. Is it spider? Is it spider? Big spider.
He's gotta go. Oh, yeah, you could, yeah, ticket, yeah.
No,
Thought I was gonna say,
I'll tell you later.
It's okay.
That's it.
I thought I was gonna say, she's got no vision.
Are you asking me to tell you?
It cuts off.
Last call for anyone who has not yet voted.
So we're gonna close one property now. They're gonna count. It's not gonna take them all that long. So bear with us for about 2-3 minutes. We'll count the ballots, and then we'll move on to the next property.
The votes have been cast and counted. 24 yes votes, 0 no votes. The property is sold.
Mr. Moderator, if I may, I'm going to discuss 104 Norfolk. It's number of structures 1, year built 1930. Lot size is just about a half an acre. Condition, this is a conditional contract that the Board of Selectmen was insistent on, that the structure must be demolished on or before November 30th, 2025, and no future construction allowed. The total proposed price is $8,000. The $1,239. On the GIS, that would be what it appears on our GIS system, available online. Is there any, sorry, Mr. Moderator, I took your job.
Any questions from the board? Candy?
Can I just clarify how many people bid on this, please?
On this particular piece, there was one bidder.
And it's a neighbor?
It is a neighbor, yes it is. The contract that the town has is with the actual abutter of the property. One thing, if I may, that I left out, one of the tasks by our ordinance is that the town is to notify all of the abutters of the properties that the town wishes to list. We went in and we searched our GIS system, and happy to report that we mailed all of the abutters letters that the town was interested in selling these properties and who to contact. We also have had signs up on the properties that the property is subject to a town meeting, and obviously to look on our website. So, great question.
And then the other piece that you had talked about when we were talking about selling it is the fact that most of the property is behind the river, or
That is
across the
correct.
river.
Yes.
No other questions from the board? I will open questions to the audience for discussion. Rob?
That the assessed value after the house is demolished?
That's the current assessed value right now. Through you, Mr. Moderator, that is the current assessed value right now on our rolls.
What's the value of the lot after the house is demolished?
We haven't gone out and reassessed what the value of the lot will after the house is demolished, but that will appear on obviously the next grand list. It'll be the 25 grand list. I know that sounds confusing, but right now we're dealing with the 24 grand list. But next year we'll be at the 25 grand list.
No other questions? We have a motion.
I make a motion to move the question, Mr. Moderator. Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor to move the question? Opposed? Motion?
I make a motion that we sell 104 Norfolk Road for the sale price of $8,000 to the person that had the bid, and also note in the motion that it's conditional on the building being demolished by November 30th, 2025.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Bill. Any other discussion? All right, once again, you need your yellow ticket to obtain a ballot. Seeing no questions from the board, any questions or discussion in the audience?
I'd like to make a motion to move the question, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Troy.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I have a motion.
I make a motion that we sell 109 Marshall Street for a sale price of $90,000 to the high bidder that we have a contract with.
I'll second.
Thank you, Candy. Thank you, Bill. Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, take your yellow ticket to get the ballot from the registrars. The votes for 109 Marshall Street have been collected and counted. We have 24 yes votes, 0 no votes. With that, we have no further business. Entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.